How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the PatriotDIY channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to build this nice looking oak 4-gun display stand. This is a great project for beginner to intermediate woodworkers. And when you're done, you can go from this to this. All right, guys, so I just finished up building this nice oak tabletop 4-gun display. I think this turned out great and it looks really good here in my office. And in just a minute, I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to build one for yourself. I'm also going to have digital build plans linked in the description below if you want to download those and build one for yourself. But before we dive into it, if you haven't done it yet, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Now let's get to work. I'm building this whole project with just a single 1x8 piece of red oak. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this over to the miter saw and cut down the pieces for my side panels. I need 4 of these because I'm going to be gluing these up later to make wider sides. Once I have all those cut, I'll take them over to the workbench and mark out the location for some biscuits. I'm going to use those to make sure I have perfect alignment when I join these two boards together. So I'll mark both boards, and then I'm going to use my Win biscuit joiner to cut these biscuit holes in the sides of both pieces. And I'm going to do that same thing on one edge of all 4 of my boards. Then I'm just going to dry fit the biscuits and make sure these fit together nicely. Once I'm satisfied with that, I'll add some wood glue on the edge of both boards, spread it evenly, and then fit the 2 pieces together before tightening up those clamps and cleaning up any excess wood glue. Now while I'm waiting for that glue to set, I'm going to start cutting the pieces for my stretchers. First I cut them to length at the miter saw, and then I cut them to width at the table saw. Now once that glue's dried on those panels, I'm going to go back and scrape off any excess wood glue and start cutting those side panels down to their final size. Now I'm ready to start marking out the location for my gun rest. All the dimensions for this will be in the plans linked in the description below. Once I have those positions marked out, I'm going to use a hole saw bit in my drill press to begin drilling out the holes where those gun rests are going to be. Once I'm finished with the first one, I'll use the first one as a guide to drill holes in the other side. With the holes drilled and my 2 panels taped together, I'll mark out the lines where I need to cut, and I'll bring this over to the bandsaw and start cutting off the excess, and you'll see here how those gun rests really start to take shape. Now I had left a little excess here on the edge, so I'm just going to trim that off with the table saw. Then I'll take this over to the spindle sander and get those gun rest locations nice and smooth. Now I want the tops of this to be rounded, so I'm going to use the Craig radius jig along with my router to put a 1/4 inch radius on all these top corners. Then I'll untape my two sides and go back with an 1/8 inch round over bit in my router to round over all of those edges. And you can see here we end up with some nice rounded soft edges all the way around. Now with all my components cut, I'm going to go back and give everything a good sanding. I did decide to go back and make a little relief cut here in the bottom of my sides just to add a little something to this design. Now I'm ready for assembly. Now I chose to join all these components with dowels. You could certainly do this with pocket holes and screws and that would be just fine, but I'm doing dowels for mine. So I mark out the location for my dowels and use a self-centering dowel jig to drill those holes into the end of both of my stretchers. Then I'll measure and mark the corresponding locations on the side panels and drill those holes using a drill press attachment from Milescraft. If you're doing it this way, you want to make sure you're being very precise with these hole locations so everything fits together perfectly. With those holes drilled, I'm just going to add a little wood glue and fit my 1/4 inch dowels into place. Then I'll add some more wood glue onto the ends of those stretchers and press them down onto the dowels. With the first side put in place, I'm going to add some wood glue on the other side of the stretchers and attach that other side piece. Then I'll put the entire assembly into some clamps to close up those gaps and hold it nice and tight while that glue sets. Then I'm really careful to make sure I remove any excess wood glue that's squeezed out. Once that's had time to set, I'm ready to add my finish. For mine, I'm using this Watco Danish oil in a walnut color. And I'm just going to wipe this on with a rag, then go back and wipe off any excess and let this sit for a day or two to dry. Once that stain's had time to set, I'm going to go back and add a top coat of polyurethane. I'm just going to be spraying this on, and I'll give this a couple coats of that polyurethane. "24 hours later, my display is almost finished. Only thing left to do is add some felt down into these gun rests to protect the guns from getting dented or scratched when you put them into the display. While I'm at it, I'm also going to add a little felt to these feet on the bottom. And with that, my tabletop 4-gun display is complete, and I think this looks great. Only thing left to do now is fill it up with a whole bunch of World War II awesomeness. All right, guys, that is it for the tabletop 4-gun display stand. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget, as always, I will have links to all the tools we used in the description below, along with digital build plans that you can download and build this for yourself. If this is something you're interested in, I have also built a vertical inset display, and I have a full video on that as well, and I'll link that in the description below for you guys. I hope this video helped you out. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.